7:15 tonight, there was like 30 people here. And then we got up to like 90. And now we're like back down to 30 and shit. So this is awesome. So it's been great. I'm just going to introduce everybody that helps all make all this shit possible.
Shovelful, man.
No, I'm not doing that shit.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Oh, fuck it. For Nathan, I don't know if I remember this shit, especially as Omar's been all night with me, so I don't know if I, well, okay, we'll just try.
Yeah.
Shovelful by shovelful. Dirt jumped back off the shovel and piled high by the tombstone that marked my new home in my soul. Watched people stand in my grave's hold, and I found it odd when the preacher said, "Soul his rest God." People walked backwards, back towards their cars, and jumped back first into that black hearse, and black hearse reversed until it reached the church on that sad, solemn Saturday. Raindrop jumps from the crown to the clouds, and the preacher said aloud, "Pray us let," and I could not forget the haste with which I don't even know this shit, Nathan, damn! With the preacher said, "Pray us let." My sister walked my mother backwards out the church and back into that funeral home. I don't even know this shit, Nathan, damn! I'm gonna read it. I refuse to go out and finishing this shit now. I know this shit now, damn.
I told you to stress that for.
I bought this around the corner just right here. As raindrops jumped from the ground to the clouds, and the preacher said aloud, "Pray us let," and I could not forget the haste with which tears fled file back up my mother's face, and my sister's look of hurt as she walked my mother backwards out the church, and I was back in that funeral home. Some unknown man had a tube in my hand, and I heard him say it's fluid embalming, and as it exited, my blood came back in. Suddenly I was once again in this hospital bed, and my heartbeat said, "Boo! Boo! 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 Boo!" I was alive again, and the nurse back then, and night turned into day 5 times in cyclical fashion, and the nurse kept asking, "Today you are out." Every 4 hours I vomited up the 6 pills she made me devour in hopes that they killed what's causing me this pain. My room was filled with flowers, and day by day they became less as tests were conducted. Only after results were told to me. 5 days prior to my demise, my arrival was marked by ambulatory sirens, and I was in the back of that ambulance as it swiftly sped steadfastly back into the apartment in which I dwelled, and I saw scenes of hell as I was carried on that gurney back into the apartment and placed back on the floor as paramedics rushed backwards out the door, and moments before they responded quick, I regained consciousness and started feeling sick. Suddenly I was healthy, and once again my mother told the person on the phone I was doing, and with a hello the conversation had begun, and then she hung up the phone, and then the phone rang. It took me back to the time 379 days ago when the phone rang, and I answered it real slow. Prior to that slow hello, I took a breath, then suddenly it was 2 weeks ago and I just took a blood test. The needle came slowly out my arm, and I rolled my sleeve back down, and I walked backwards around the exam chair and sat back in the waiting room with the carefree stare of reflection on how I could not possibly have an infection. I walked backwards out the doctor's office and sat back in the softness of my Maxima seats, and I drove the streets backwards through time to 6 months ago, and I arrived back on the doorstep of some girl I really didn't know. I walked back through her door, and my clothes and her clothes both hit the floor, and I told her before this like sex had never I. Prior to our sexual action, our passionate attraction had us kissing, and I kept reminiscing back to the look in her eyes when she smiled, and I thought, cool. Then I remembered she said, "That need, don't you?" It was 2:15, and I saw my soul looking back at me, and I knew I was acting foolishly. You don't get second chances at bad romancing, and I begged my soul to let me go back to that moment in time when I was still a living, breathing man with that unused condom jumped out the trash can and landed back in my hand.
Wow.
So it's been a great run over the last 16 or so months. This is farewell but not goodbye. You know, I'll be back to host intermittently, but you know, I am moving out of the area on to some bigger and better things in my other career, which is beyond
We have another open mic.
this. Oh no, she knows she late as shit. She was trying to get me to come to her job. I just had the open mic last 5 hours so you can get off work, Maya. That's like, you know. Maya's not here for me, she's here for the alcohol. So, without any further ado, all of the inspired word folks that are still here with us tonight, I want to bring on stage and acknowledge Aimee Herman is with us. Clap it up for Aimee Herman. Yes. Nathan P is still with columnist tonight. Clap it up for HP. Our assistant director is Marvin Medlinger.
Do it now. I told you, do it now.
We want to acknowledge two of our former hostesses, Imani and Christina Mendez. Clap it up for them. Just because I want some sexy women in my photo tonight. I have 3 gorgeous women on stage with me now. Or 4 if you count Marvin. And then of course, our producer and director would be nothing without Michael Geffner. Clap it up for Michael. Jay Franco, our photographer. Clap it up for Jay. He's gonna take our photo. And I'm gonna look over there. Next week we have our slam hosted by Advocate of Words right here on Wednesday night at 7:30. So make sure you come back and check this out. Omar's still behind the bar until like 3 o'clock in the morning, so if you ain't got nowhere to go, you ain't gotta leave here.